Andy Biggs, sir, it's great to see you as always. You know, the GOP in Texas, Congressman, and their legislature there has surrendered to all this Obama money, killing 250 Texans due to our grid's over-reliance on green energy. Now that you know that the Democrats' climate con is toxic, literally and figuratively, do you think the National Republican Party will be as easily bought off?
Well, Chris, I would like to say absolutely not, but you and I both are cynics, and so I can only best say I hope not, because the reality is this. I see state after state going through and expanding their green energy percentages as a total package of their total energy output. That's a problem because so much of this is actually non-green, non-sustainable, and toxic, where the cleanest burning are, as you say, natural gas, that we have a surfeit of natural gas in this country. I've even talked in the past few weeks with people who believe they can actually recycle nuclear fission rods. I mean, so nuclear is the way to go of the future. LNG is the way to go. And you know what? Even right now, we burn cleaner coal than anywhere else, and we also burn cleaner oil and other oils as well. That's where we should be going. But you asked me about the National Party, Chris. I'd like to say yes, but I don't know that I can.
I hear you. Let's focus on the perversion of our justice system and what has been going on and what some people would call the deep state, what I call permanent Washington. If true, these people have some nerve. According to the Washington Post, Biden's DOJ is investigating former President Trump over alleged efforts to stay in power, to overturn the last election. Meanwhile, a few Republicans like you and Chuck Grassley, you guys want to know why the DOJ and FBI are so quick to investigate baseless wrongdoing by Republicans and drag their feet with mountains of evidence against Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden. Isn't the real reason that the left-wingers who have infected the Department of Justice and the FBI can get away with this, can do this, is that they're really running the show in Washington? The Republicans are just window dressing, giving the illusion of oversight?
Yeah, right now what's happening is we're in the minority. So even when we request oversight, the Democrats won't give it to us. When we send out requests for information, the DOJ doesn't give it to us. I actually had a surprise thing. I had a DOJ office come to me a week or two ago and give us information, but that's an exception. Most of the time they bury this stuff, and we have to find out from it. Who do we find out from? Whistleblowers, people who know, hey, this is corrupt. We need to go somewhere. There's no place to go. And they don't want to go to the Democrats because the Democrats will aid and abet the people who have corrupted our police apparatus at this state, in this country. And that has, you've never seen that before, not in reality,
right?
But you got to stop it.
I remember the good old days when politics weren't allowed in national security and they weren't allowed in the law enforcement apparatus. But now the left wing, the Democrat Party, has infected those agencies. And then actually you wrote about this. There's this report, a bombshell report showing that Biden's and Christopher Wray's FBI and Merrick Garland's Department of Justice actually downplaying the Hunter Biden investigation. And this kind of explains what you wrote in the Washington Times, why Americans no longer trust our institutions. So that begs the question, Congressman, why are we the people funding left-wing corruption that now runs the Department of Justice and the FBI?
We're funding them simply because you've got the Democrats control the purse strings, and we have some of our complicit, some of my colleagues are complicit on my side of the aisle. And the reality is, never forget that the Hunter Biden is just one example of dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds, where they said, oh, you know, there's no laptop. Then, you know, the laptop's Russian, came out of Russia. Then it's no big deal whatsoever. It took a lot of courageous people and whistleblowers to come forward and bring that forward. And in the meantime, the apparatus is basically putting out misinformation to the public, whilst they were suppressing and preventing investigation on the inside. That's the corruption that we see here, and who knows where that will end. But I've talked to my guys, the chairman of Judiciary, the chairman of Oversight, and I've said, when we're back in there, what are we going to do? They're ready to rock and roll. And I believe we're going to deliver on that and expose all of this stuff. And we will go as far as the deep state will let us. And if the deep state doesn't want to let us, Chris, I'm with you. You defund. You reinstitute rules where you say, Merrick Garland, you're not going to prosecute. We're going to use the Homan rule to make sure you don't get paid. We're going to get we want somebody in there who's going to actually prosecute and investigate these cases.
All right, Congressman Andy Biggs, I always appreciate the time you carve out. Praise God, we're going to get some sort of accountability back there in Washington, D.C. And my message to the permanent Washington, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, is we shouldn't be funding our own demise. We shouldn't be funding our own lawlessness, and I don't want to do it anymore. Congressman, thank you. Ahead tonight on the Chris Salcedo Show, we continue our series exposing